Hello and welcome to Sports Today. Two special things I'm going to do today. One, obviously, continue with our analysis of the Lord's Test. Sachin Tendulkar in that interview saying that this is the best Indian bowling lineup. And I have always said this. So I'm going to talk a little bit more about that, delve deep, using our book, Mission Domination, An Unfinished Quest. One of the main things in the book is an analysis of this bowling attack. We've gone into the depths of each of these guys, whether it is a Mohammad Siraj, and Kushan has written a beautiful piece today in PTI extracting from the book on it. Shardul Thakur, obviously Jasprit Bumrah, Mohammad Shami. So we will talk about this Indian bowling attack, including the spinners Ravichandran Ashwin, Ravindra Jadeja. Does this make this attack the most complete attack? And number two, as I promised, we will start a deep dive into the Paralympics. A real deep dive into the Paralympics. I will set it up for you. I will set up the Paralympics and then start talking to you about individual athletes, talking to you about prospective medal winners. Because let me say this, nobody will be able to do Paralympics better because we will keep our focus on the games constantly. Let's say also share some news points, because today if you followed the under-20 athletics World Cup, an Indian team clocking 323 in that mixed relay, making the final, which is at 7:45 p.m. in the evening. Watch it. In our series of the 6 teams, there was Jamaica as well. The Indian quartet 323, that according to the AFI site ratified, is a record. An Indian relay quartet doing so well is a record. Amanpreet Singh 17.92 in the shot put, coming 11th, also making the final. The 12 contestants who make the final. These are important performances, extremely important performances coming from India in the athletics domain. Adil Sumariwala and I, on our way back from Tokyo, were chatting about it. And let me publicly say this. Adil, the Athletics Federation of India is doing extremely well. The way you have helped Neeraj, the synergy that I'm now seeing, the way this junior athletics team is doing. Anju Bobby George keeps talking about Shaili, so all of us will be waiting to see her perform on the 20th. But Adil, you and the AFI, your team, extremely good work. This is where federations, with the support of the ministry, the government, can make a massive difference to our sport. That's what I want to see. So focus number one, let's go to Lords again. Sachin Tendulkar in that interview talking about the quality of the Indian attack and saying that this is the best bowling attack in the world. Is he right? I think he is, because when you take the range, the versatility, it is fantastic. When you take the overall strength of this Indian bowling attack, and here I keep in mind New Zealand, here I keep in mind South Africa, England, obviously, Australia, to a degree Pakistan, also West Indies, but West Indies still not there. Despite that fantastic victory, and recent times they've done very well. So let's compare some of the bowling units and let's see where we stand. Let's start with New Zealand. Clearly New Zealand WTC champions, but where I think they lack steam compared to our bowling attack is we are ready for all conditions. A Bumrah, Shami, Ishan, Siraj or Shardul plus Ashwin and Jadeja. This is more or less your top 7. Compare it with Saudi, Bolt, Jamieson, Neil Wagner, Matt Henry. But then it comes to Ajaz Patel. Then it comes to Mitchell Santner. And the quality all of a sudden dips with spin. So it will be important to see how New Zealand does when they visit the subcontinent. Because when you have to be the best team in the world, you have to be the best team overall in all kinds of conditions. Not simply in England or in New Zealand, which are similar conditions, or in Australia. I do not see this New Zealand attack, at least on paper, to be as good as this Indian attack overall. I don't see anyone who is as good as Ravichandran Ashwin. Let's be clear. The pace attack with Saudi, Bolt and Wagner definitely compares. The pace attack is comparable. But in terms of spin, Ravichandran Ashwin and Ravindra Jadeja, I'll still go with Mitchell Santner as maybe comparable with Ravindra Jadeja, but no way does anybody come as close to Ravichandran Ashwin. That is where the difference happens with this Indian attack, and I will be very, very keen to see how the New Zealand attack does in subcontinental conditions. Now take the West Indies. You've got a Kemar Roach, you've got a Jayden Seales. Jayden Seales, fantastic, initiation into Test cricket, 4 wickets the other night. Jason Holder, Shannon Gabriel slightly out of the picture at the moment. Alzarri Joseph also in the mix. Roston Chase as the spinner. Again, if you take a look at the spin option, it just doesn't compare with a Ravichandran Ashwin or a Ravindra Jadeja. Even in the fast bowling department, you will have to say a Kemar Roach, Jayden Seales, Alzarri Joseph doesn't really match our Indian pace quartet at the moment. So now comes to Australia. We know, it was a very, very good side, but in terms of versatility, I mean, Mitchell Starc, Josh Hazelwood, Patrick Cummins and Nathan Lyon, excellent bowling attack. But depth, when you are talking about a team that has the best bowling attack in the world, you've also got to talk about depth. If you take 1 or 2 boys out of this, India will immediately replace them with a Shardul Thakur, with a Mohammad Siraj. We've got a Bhuvaneshwar Kumar sitting back in India. Can Australia replace them with somebody who is as good as, is a Sean Abbott as good? Is somebody else as good as these 3 or 4 fast bowlers? A Riley Meredith, is he as good? Jai Richardson sounds extremely promising, looks great, but he's got to prove himself. That is where this Indian bowling attack triumphed over Australia, in Australia. So that's how I see, and Sachin Tendulkar stands vindicated because the number of times you've been able to pick 20 wickets in recent times from that South Africa series of 2018, stands out, and it's the depth has only grown, and it has grown because of what we have written in our book Mission Domination, Bharat Arun's contribution. And Bharat, by introducing biomechanics, by introducing workload management, has made this bowling attack a 200% more potent one. That's what makes the difference. Now with South Africa, again a very, very good bowling unit, and when India travels to South Africa this December, it'll be a cracker of a series. South Africa, always a difficult team to beat, and we haven't won a series in South Africa. So it will be yet another test for Virat Kohli's side. Can they beat South Africa in South Africa? Will be a real test, because we came close last time round. Remember, 208 to chase down. We failed the third test. We won a brilliant test match in Johannesburg, and that was the start of the turnaround for this test team, just with Bumrah's debut series. Kagiso Rabada, Anrich Nokia. If you take a look at that South African side, Keshav Maharaj as their third, the spin option. Again, you've got to say that it's a good bowling unit. It is a decently good bowling unit with Nokia, Rabada and some of them. But again, the variety that this Indian attack has, and when you bring in George Linda or anybody, Keshav Maharaj, I don't think the spinners stand the test against a Ravichandran Ashwin or a Ravindra Jadeja. So when you take all kinds of conditions, because obviously the pace department with Nokia, Rabada is definitely good. And when you add Lungi and Ngidi to that mix, it's a very handy, potent pace attack. But when you add that spinner into the mix and take the real kind of depth that this South African side has, you will have to agree that this Indian bowling attack, as Sachin says, is the best that there goes around in the world at the moment. So that's what I believe has been the trump card for India. Look at the fitness levels of these guys. Look at the depth, because there has to be rotation. Jimmy Anderson will be tired. Mark Wood already injured, is a suspect case now going forward. Stuart Broad already out of the series. But as far as the Indians go, we have a Shardul Thakur who will possibly come back if need be. The four-prong pace attack that we have used, they looked very fresh and sharp. Even the last afternoon, the way they ran in each ball was terrific to see. And that is a testimony to the kind of fitness that Virat Kohli, as captain, has brought into this team. This is his cult. It is the Virat Kohli cult of fitness that is now defining this team, India. And that is his contribution to Indian cricket. We cannot take away that contribution from the skipper. I hope we realize this and celebrate him for it. That's where I will stop in terms of my cricket analysis for the day, because I wanted to deep dive into the Indian bowling attack for you. Now I will shift focus to Paralympics. When I shift focus, by the way, Trisha, can you update me on the score for Mohun Bagan and Bengaluru FC, please? Because till when I started the show, it was still 0-0 in the AFC Cup. So if you update me, I will give my viewers that score as well. As far as Mohun Bagan and Bengaluru FC are concerned, Roy Krishna versus Sunil Chetri. Now coming to Paralympics. You know what? Till a few years back, unfortunately in India, we weren't celebrating Paralympians enough. And I have done close to 200 programs. Mohun Bagan is winning 1-0 at the moment with Bengaluru FC in that AFC Cup match. That is the current score as we speak. Okay, so obviously you guys can see a bit of a smile on my face for reasons you know. Coming back to Paralympics. Till a few years back, even the Rio Olympic Games, and today I'm going to situate Paralympics for you. Even till the Rio Olympic Games, Paralympians weren't given the kind of respectability that they deserve, the kind of support that they deserve, the kind of accolades that should come their way. I did not see that happen in India. I did not see that. They were not eligible to get the Khel Ratna. That for me was discriminated. And I have to say I was one of the few who played a part in this, made a little contribution in making a hue and cry that they should qualify for the Khel Ratna. I mean, when you look at a para-athlete, and a Devendra Jhajaria, a Deepa Malik, an Avni Lekha, an Ekta Bhyan, a Palak Kohli, a Sundar Gujjar, a Manoj Sarkar, a Pramod Bhagat, you are bound to feel inspired. And we will talk about all of these athletes, but let's first understand Paralympics. If I ask you on the show today, now, do you know Murlikant Petkar? How many of you have heard of Murlikant Petkar? And I have oftentimes done this in my leadership talks. I have oftentimes tried this out in my leadership talks, and not many put their hands up, hardly any. Jaipur Literary Festival, I had asked this at Charbagh, 1,500 people at that point, obviously no COVID. Nobody put their hand up when I asked a Murlikant Petkar question. Now, Murlikant Petkar is a war veteran, 1965 war, you can look him up, the Pakistan war, sustained injuries and had to sort of leave the army, and thereafter took to Paralympics and was India's first Paralympic medal winner. Now, Murlikant Petkar was only recently recognized by the government and honored. Now, that is actually the story of Paralympics in India. That if I ask you who a Murlikant Petkar was, hardly anybody will be able to tell me. Now, that for me is something that has to be addressed, and addressed at the core of it. If you see my coverage of the Paralympic Games here on Sports Today and on the India Today network, you will see it will get as much prominence as the Olympic Games. Let me tell you a Devendra Jhajaria story, and that will help me locate the kind of effort that they give. By the way, when I launched my book Dreams of a Billion, and I actually got Devendra Jhajaria and Deepa Malik to launch the book, it is co-written with Nalin Mehta, by the way, at the Jaipur Literary Festival. Do you know that the two of them actually had a tear in their eye saying, "Sir, आप हमें launch करने के लिए कह रहे हो story of India's Olympic encounter?" And for me, they were champions. I mean, it was kind of baffling that reaction. And when they spoke, the way they spoke, everybody was left spellbound. at that festival, and it is the greatest literary festival that India has, perhaps the world has. Now, let me tell you Devendra Jhajaria, the account of Devendra Jhajaria. He's already got 2 gold medals. By the way, he is India's most successful Olympic athlete. Okay, so if anyone asks you this question, who is India's most successful Olympic athlete? It is Devendra Jhajaria with 2 gold medals. PV has 2, Sushil has 2, but Sindhu has a silver and a bronze. Sushil has a silver and a bronze. Devendra has 2 gold medals, one in Rio in 2004 and one in Rio in 2016 and one at the Athens Games of 2004. Now, Devendra Jhajaria. Devendra, at the age of 7-8, lost one of his hands because it electrocuted, and 1 month after that he hardly left his house because he was mentally very, very depressed and sad and would cry. Finally, it was Devendra's mother. It was Devendra's mother who came up to her son and said, तुम ये क्यों कर रहे हो, ये क्यों क्या कर रहे हो, because तुम किसी से कम नहीं हो, तुम किसी से कम नहीं हो, जाके बाकी बच्चों के साथ खेलो, स्कूल जाओ और बाकी बच्चों के साथ एक ही तरह से खेलो, कोई तुम्हारे साथ डिस्क्रिमिनेशन नहीं करेगा. Devendra Jhajaria decided to go back to school, and as it happens in India, in a school sport, he was told, आप भाला नहीं फेंक सकते, आप नहीं खेल सकते, आपका एक हाथ नहीं है, आप बाहर बैठिए, बाकी लोगों को खेलने दीजिए, आप देखिए. That is when Devendra Jhajaria reportedly said कि हाँ बाकी बच्चों पहले हमारे से पहले कर ले, but सबका हो जाने के बाद मुझे एक opportunity दिया जाए. The backstory to this is, when he was discriminated against at school, Devendra Jhajaria had gone home and told his mother that, look, I am being told a lot of names, मेरा एक हाथ नहीं है, मुझे ये नहीं है, मैं अपाहिज हूँ. So his mother told Devendra that you are the sort of a son of a farming community. एक काम करो, make a tree log, cut it into a javelin and start practicing. So Devendra Jhajaria had started practicing there and had gotten himself ready. So when the school opportunity came and he threw the javelin, everybody was shell-shocked. He won the competition by a distance, and that is what started the journey. If you go and ask a Devendra Jhajaria today, he will tell you that that school medal was as important as an Olympic medal to him. Let me tell you a 2003 for the Athens Olympics story. And Devendra said, before the Olympic Games, there were multiple competitions that, he went to. By the way, during the Olympic Games, he paid for his own fare. He paid for his own fare. He bought his own spikes. So all Devendra Jhajaria had was a 300 rupee spike and a 400 rupee javelin. And he said, sir, Chinese na pura team leke aate the. Pura team लेके आते थे, उनके पास फिजियोथेरेपिस्ट था, स्पोर्ट्स साइंस, न्यूट्रिशनिस्ट, सब कोई थे, और हमारे पास था 300 रुपए का जेवलिन और 400 रुपए का स्पाइक. So Devendra Jhajaria saw the Chinese guys train with the TheraBand. So he actually thought, ये है क्या? So now Devendra obviously did not have a TheraBand. He had never even seen a TheraBand, leave alone practice with it. So what Devendra did, he went and inquired, ये TheraBand क्या है? So when he was told that this is how you train, your shoulder becomes stronger, it becomes ready. So Devendra Jhajaria did a very unique Indian thing. He picked up an axe and he went and started cutting tree logs. So he would cut, and this is the kind of motion. So exactly the same as the TheraBand. And he said, sir, मेरे पास तो वो नहीं था, मैंने काटना शुरू कर दिया, दिन में 500 बार मैं करता गया, मेरा शोल्डर स्ट्रॉन्ग हो गया, मैं ओलंपिक गोल्ड मेडल जीता. Can you imagine what this man must have gone through to win an Olympic medal in the absence of all kinds of facilities, and then to be discriminated against and not given the Khel Ratna? All of that is now a thing of the past. I laud the fact that the Prime Minister spoke to the para-athletes. I welcome the move that the National Sports Awards are being done only after the Paralympics will get over. Every Paralympic medal winner should be given the Khel Ratna is a claim that I'm making on my show. I will give you many more stories. Tomorrow also I'll give you a couple of Devendra stories and many more. as I said, of all these athletes, keep celebrating them as I build up to the Paralympic Games. This is going to be your destination. I'm making this claim, I've said this in the past, India, 54 athletes, stands to win 12 plus medals, 3 to 4 gold medals, if not more. It will be a revolution at the Paralympics between August 24-25, September 8. Watch out, get to know your athletes, celebrate your athletes, because it is very, very important that we as a country get behind our para stars exactly the way we gotten behind our Olympic stars. I hope you enjoyed the show. We will keep doing our deep dive into para games. By the way, as far as the Mohan Bagan match is concerned, Roy Krishna has scored the goal. So that's the update. On that note, thank you very, very much for watching. Keep supporting Sports Today, because this is your multi-sporting platform for all sports. So your go-to destination for the Paralympics, of course for cricket, I'll get you the best action. So keep supporting us, ring the notification bell and subscribe. Thank you very much for watching.